Welcome back to Nightly Nonsense, where we try to make a little bit of sense out of some of the nonsense that's out there. And there is a ton of nonsense out there. Now, listen, I leave all the political stuff to our resident expert, Pastor McGinnis. But there is a lot of stuff going on right now that if you're not paying attention to it, you're probably going to be lost. And that's exactly where I want to start tonight. You know, a lot of us have just been waking up to some of the things that have been going on for years and years and years within public education. We're suddenly very concerned about what our kids are being taught. Not because we've been paying attention and because we've been listening and building relationships with our kids that have us actually even knowing what they're learning, but because we read about things that are happening and it's suddenly waking us up to, hey, there might be things that are going on in our kids' education that we don't agree with. No, if you're just waking up to that, then thank you. Thank you for waking up. There's a lot of people that still aren't waking up, but we need to be more intentional about educating our kids. Wanted to make up a word there. All right? We need to be more in tune with the Bible that says train up a child in the way that they should go. And when they get older, right? They're not gonna stray from it. They're gonna stay on track. Now that doesn't mean that they're not gonna have problems. It doesn't mean that they might not even be like the prodigal son and go away. But in the prodigal son's story, right? The father has trained up his child. The son rebels against that training, but in a dire moment of need, in a pig pen where he longed to fill his belly with the pods that the pigs were eating, what happens to that young man? He remembers his father and how his father treated even the servants. Give God something to work with, right? That's the whole key here. You do your job. You should be invested in your child. You should not be letting a school raise up your child in the way he should go. The school has already determined the way they should go for the most part. Even if you have your child in Christian education, they have their way of doing things. Each teacher is going to present their educational subject the way they want to present it, the way that they believe it should be. You should be checking. You know, there's things you might disagree with, even in Christian education. You and your spouse might even disagree with some of the things that are going on. We need to be intentional about things. I want to start by going through a whole bunch of different things, but tonight I wanted to focus on you need to be intentional about education, educating, training up your child. It is not the school's job to train up your child. You may give the school stewardship of your kid during the hours of 7:30 to 3:34 or whatever time they get home. And they might be responsible for the core of what your child is learning educationally, but you need to be intentional about making sure that you know what's being taught and that you're supplementing it with other things. You know that it's more than likely that your school is not going to teach about creationism. It's going to teach about evolution. Are you offsetting that? Or is that another thing you're just waiting for the church to do for you? You have to be intentional. Do you know you need to be intentional about the books that your child is reading? Do you know that from a very early age, there's an agenda for the type of books a school system, the educational system wants your kid to read? Are you offsetting that with other books? Are you introducing your kid to alternatives? Say, I know you might be interested in this science fiction, but here's another science fiction. Here's an alternative. Or are you taking time to read the books that your kids are reading so you know what's in them? I don't have all the answers. Done a lot of things poorly. But what I do know is that you need to be intentional. It's not going to happen haphazardly. Train up a child in the way they should go. You train up a child. Don't expect other people. Be involved in every aspect of your child's education. You're doing a great job. Keep doing a great job. If you're not feeling like you're doing a good job, it's never too late. Do a good job. Even if your kid is a senior in college, start taking an interest. If you haven't woken up yet, man, I pray that you would wake up. That you would wake up to know that there is a motive, an intentionality from the enemy of your soul to train up your child in the way he thinks they should go. Don't let that happen. Hey, we'll see you next time. Nightly Nonsense, where we try to make some sense out of a whole bunch of nonsense.